Hi everyone, so we've just done our setup in the previous video and now we are ready to begin the process of using advanced warehousing. So first, let's imagine we want to purchase some items and add them to our warehouse. First, we're going to create a purchase order and order our items. So let's go into purchase orders and press new. I'm then going to enter a vendor that I'm ordering from. So let's use this one. And then we can go down to our lines and add the items that we want to order. So let's add item 1900 and item 1908. I'm then going to set the location code to Joe Advanced Warehouse, which is the location that we just went through setting up in the previous video. And we can see that our bins have automatically been filled in using their default bins for these items. This isn't super important though, because we can change and confirm the bins when we use the warehouse put away later in the process. I want to order 10 of each of these items. Now, at this stage is where I'd go ahead and order the items from the vendor and I'd set the purchase order to release. And once the items arrive from the delivery, we would begin our next step. So now let's imagine that the items have turned up at our warehouse and we want to confirm in Business Central what has arrived. So this is where we're going to use our warehouse receipt document. So let's create it and I'll explain how we use it. So within our purchase order, under our home tab, we would click create warehouse receipt. And this is going to take us to a new page, which is our warehouse receipt. This document is going to be for us to confirm what stock has arrived from the delivery and how many of each. But this document is only for confirming that the items have arrived, but it's not for putting the items into their storage bins just yet. It's just for confirming that they have arrived. We can see this from the bin code as it is using the receive bin that we set up earlier. So this document is literally just confirming that the items are in our warehouse and have been put into the receive bin and are waiting to be put into their storage bins. So my items have arrived. I count the items. I can confirm that 10 of each have arrived. And we can see that quantity to receive is already filled in. So I'm happy with this. If this wasn't filled in, I would enter 10 here, as this is to confirm in BC the actual amount that we received. And if for some reason you had a different amount than expected arrived, then you would enter that here too. So what I do is just press post receipt, and that's going to confirm that the items have arrived and they will be held in the receive bin. Now that I've posted this, you can see that it tells us that a warehouse put away has been created. And this is what we're going to use to actually move the items to their storage bins. If I quickly look in bin contents, in here we can see our receive bin. And if I just filter to this so it's easier to view, we can see that both item 1900 and item 1908 have 10 quantity in the receive bin. So we know that Business Central is storing them here. So now we're going to want to use the warehouse put away that was just created to move the items from the receive bin into their actual storage bins. So to find our warehouse put away, we could search for warehouse put aways, or if we want to find the exact one that relates to this purchase order, I can press related, warehouse, warehouse put away lines, and we can see the lines are in here. Now, if I click any of these, it's going to open up all the lines for us. And what we'll find is this source number will match our purchase order number, so we know that they're related. So this document is quite similar to the inventory put away that we used in basic warehousing, but the key difference is that it now shows us two lines for each item. One line is telling us where to take the item from, and the other line is telling us where to place it. So the take line is obviously going to be telling us to take from our receive bin, as this is where it's currently being stored. And the place bin is going to be the bin that is suggesting us to store it in. And in this case, it's going to be using our default bin as this is the way we set it up. So we can go ahead and we would physically move these items from where it's saying take the receive bin and placing them in the bins suggested. So for let's say for item 1900, we take all 10, we put all 10 into the default bin that's suggesting, and we're happy with this. So we keep the quantity to handle at 10. But for item 1908, let's say we actually want to put half into this bin and we want to put half in another bin. So what we can do is we can see it's telling us to take 10 from the receive bin, and obviously we're going to go ahead and do this. What we're going to do is we're going to change the quantity to handle of the bin we're placing it in to 5. With this line selected, I can now press functions and split line, and we can see it's added another place line for us. And obviously it's put 5, the other half, in the quantity to handle. We can now go ahead and change which bin we want to place this half of the items in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to put it in the south zone. So I'll change the zone to south. Now, if the zone code isn't appearing for you, you may need to go into settings and personalize and add that field. And that's the same for any of these fields. And then if I open bins, we'll see our third bin from the setup. So now we can see for item 1908, we're taking 10 from the receive bin and placing 5 in bin 2 and 5 in bin 3. So once we've done this and we're happy with this, we can go ahead and register the put away. So now that this is all posted, all the stock will have moved from the receive bin and been put into the storage bins in Business Central. If we go to bin contents again, we can now see the item 1900 in bin 1 has 10 quantity, and then item 1908 has 5 quantity in bin 2 and 5 quantity in bin 3. So this confirms everything has moved to where we placed it. Now once we're ready, we'll be able to post this purchase order once it's all complete. Obviously we need a vendor invoice number, and I will just make one up as I'm in a demo. And we can click post, and it doesn't matter if we have receive an invoice or just invoice, as we've already received the items. Now that we've posted this, that completes the purchasing and receiving step. So next, we'd be ready to go on to selling and shipping using advanced warehousing, which we will cover in the next video.